What's up, you guys? James Strickland here. Welcome back to my weekly recap. So it's been, about a month since I've seen you guys. I really apologize for not keeping up with the training, but I told you guys I was going to be on a maintenance mode. So I am going to bring you guys my weekly recaps from now on for the next, I guess we have 8 weeks until the meet. And yes, we have a meet plan, so I'll bring you up to date on all that. But before I go any further, if you guys are new to the channel, welcome. My name is James Strickland. I am going for a raw 700-pound raw bench, and this is going to be in a competition, and I'm hoping to be one of the lightest people, if not the lightest person ever to do it in competition in powerlifting. My current best is 672. I did that just about 2 years ago. I also have a full meet total of right under 2,200 with about a 760 squat and a 783-pound deadlift. So I am going to be bringing you guys my weekly recaps of how I do my training, why I do certain things, what I'm thinking. And if you guys are interested in that, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I will bring you guys recaps from my training going from now until basically my meet, and then anything going forward from that. Also, for you guys that are returning subscribers, I really appreciate each and every single one of you. I have brought you guys a couple of videos, and I do have some more as promised for like how-tos and some different things. You might have seen the recovery video and just different things as far as how I built my pulley system. As you can see, I'm in a new set here, my new home gym. But things have opened back up. I hope they have for you, and if not, I wish you guys the best. Stay strong in your training, and we will get there. But I am in Texas, so our gyms have loosened up a little bit of the restrictions that have been in place for the last month or so. And so I still am training in my home gym, but I'm actually branching out a little bit to get some of my accessory work done in some of the local gyms that are open and safe to go to. But anyway, so I am going to continue on with my recaps. I did take about 5 weeks since I've seen you guys last in my training to do some maintenance work. Basically, we were working up to a meet in April. April 25th was going to be the meet. It obviously got canceled about 4 weeks out from the meet. And so basically what my coach and I discussed was we don't know when the next opportunity to do a meet is. And so from this point forward, which would have been 5 weeks ago, we're going to back things down. So in my training at the time, if you go back and look at week 77 recap, that was basically where I was working up to about a heavy single, working up to 650, and then we were going to probably go 660, 75, depending on how things felt going forward until the meet, April 25th. So once that got canceled, there's no reason for me to keep going heavy in my training if I'm not going to be peaking for a specific purpose. Now, I don't like to lift my PRs in the gym unless I'm going to be able to put them up in a meet very soon after. It is not very advantageous. It's really not smart, and I don't know how possible it really is, because I've never really tried it, to hold on to a peak that should have been done like in April and be able to hold it until my next, I don't know when the next meet would be, for 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 8 weeks, 3 months, whatever. I'm not going to be able to hold the peak, meaning if I went 650 5 weeks ago, then what am I going to do the next week? 650 again, 660. The whole point of my training is progressive overload. So instead of doing progressive overload for X number of weeks and trying to get up to 700 and then maybe stopping at that point and starting back over with no meet in sight, the smart thing for us to do was actually to back things down. For me, that typically is just above a deload. And if you guys watch my recaps, you know that when I'm training in the upper 500s, 600s-ish, my deloads typically are between 450 and 500 for sets of 3 to 5. So it's smart way to approach the training was to basically go and do a maintenance mode, which is just above deload level, if you will, as far as the difficulty of the training itself, at least for the main sets. And so basically that puts us in a 500 or so range. And so what we did is, not knowing when the meet would be next, we went down into like the 480 range for a set of 5, 500 for a set of 5, and I'll show you guys here in the recaps. But basically doing that for the foreseeable future. Now, obviously, we are 5 weeks fast forward from that, and I can tell you guys that we do have a meet planned. It's going to be July 25th. I really was looking forward to doing the one in Chicago, which was a benefit for autism, called Pressing the Pieces Together with the APF Powerlifting Federation, but that has been canceled, obviously. I don't know when the rescheduled date is, And I really think with the way training has been moving forward, and I'll tell you a little bit about that in the recaps here, I really think that July time frame is going to be perfect for a peak because of how my training's been going the last couple of weeks. And specifically this last week really set the tone to actually solidifying a date that is about 8 weeks out. And so that's why we're doing July 25th. Basically, the maintenance mode basically sucked for me. I just didn't like it at all. I mean, I like training, but since I wasn't training for a purpose, I just lost a little bit of motivation. Mentally, was just drained. Obviously, the things that are going on in the world is very stressful and it's just hard. I like to actually lift out in gyms in the public. I like to socialize and talk to people and things like that. And that's part of my, I guess, daily dose of civilization, if you will, other than, you know, outside of work and family and things like that. So I miss actually going to gyms and kind of getting some motivation, inspiration from other people and just being among the people, if you will. And so training in my home gym, it's hard to turn on the motivation and turn off, you know, that stimulus to go back and forth inside the house. So it's just a little bit of a change of pace for me. But honestly, it worked out very well because if I was training for a meet under those circumstances, it wouldn't be ideal. I'm sure I could make it work, but once again, the key word here is ideal. So before I go any further, let me go ahead and just jump right in. We're going to start off right pretty much where we left off. There's a couple weeks gap where I'm not covering any kind of footage. I wasn't filming anything. It was like in the 480 range and just kind of doing sets of 5. Basically just doing some real basic movements. I just really don't have a lot of accessory stuff here either. I've got a barbell. I've got my weights. I've got plenty of weights, but it's barbell and plates. I don't have a lot of heavy dumbbells. I have a cable system that I don't really trust it 100% with the weight that I can actually put on it. You know, I can get some work in, but I can go a heck of a lot heavier if, you know, obviously you guys have seen. I just don't trust a home gym setup cable system as much as I would trust a commercial gym setup. So I wasn't able to push it too much, but again, smartly, I don't want to push it. It was keeping me in the maintenance mode, and that's fine. I didn't lose any strength. I lost a little bit of the edge, if you will, that peak, but we had just got into it, so it's not really that big of a deal. Had I been like 2 weeks out from a meet, I probably would have been pretty frustrated. I probably would have wanted to see something, you know, of a new PR just because we're already that close. But because we literally were like 3 weeks into a peaking cycle, it was kind of almost, I don't want to say perfect timing because I hate that it happened, but it couldn't have probably happened at a better time other than maybe an off season. So let's jump into week 78 recap here. All right, so day 1 here, heavy bench and upper accessories. I'm going to show my warm-ups. This is 405 on the bar here. As you can see, it normally moves a little bit faster, but the edge is kind of off. It's okay. I actually would normally go up to 495, went to 455 here. Didn't have that spunk that I normally have. First set of the day is 500 for a set of 4. See a little bit of rust there. It's just weird how that works. You go from benching 620, 650 one day and just kind of not, you know, losing a little bit of that momentum, and it just kind of puts you back a little bit. But that's okay. The thing is being smart and being safe here. We're going up here for 510 on this next set. The actual programming called for RPE 8, RPE 9, nothing like in the 10s. So I don't want to fail on any of these or take the chance of failing. I tell you, a lot of this is not so much physical. It's more of the mental state that I'm in. Just kind of bummed out, honestly. This is a drop set here, 375 for a couple sets of 6. Just kind of getting some volume in here. Nothing crazy. As you'll see, you know, obviously in old workout videos and in some of the newer ones, that's basically warm-up weight. Okay, I've got some isometrics here. Now this is actually something that is able to keep the peak, not peak, but keep the strength up, because I am able to press into these pins with a lot of force and not risk any kind of injury or anything like that with super heavy weights. So doing some close grip, basically narrow underhand lat pull downs. My setup here is better than nothing, that's for sure. But I actually didn't account for not getting a full range of motion up here, so I'm not able to get all the way up and get a good stretch. But looking back over the last 5 weeks, it didn't hurt me at all. I literally have got my lat pull down strength where it was at and actually stronger than when I had to start all this quarantine stuff. So it actually worked out pretty well. But I would definitely say that those are not my best lat pull downs as far as the range of motion. I don't have any heavy dumbbells. Anything over like 8 to 10 pounds is just honestly using my wife's dumbbells. And I didn't want to go out and spend a fortune on some really heavy dumbbells. So I'm just using my 25-pound plates here to get some flies. And believe it or not, I mean, you just look at my face, there's a little bit of a grimace there. This is weird, and you'll know why in a minute, and I'll tell you from the last week's workout video, but this is 25 pounds. Just remember this timestamp right here and how I look with 25 pounds. This is just kind of mentally, I'm just drained and just going through the motions, trying to keep things in momentum, so that when I get through all of this stuff going on in the world, we'll be fine. So I am able to get some pretty decent tricep push down here. It's not a super heavy weight, but the way this is set up, it does feel a little heavier than the weight is, just because it's the pulley system is a little bit different. But I am able to get a nice burn on the triceps, which is all I'm really trying to do. So I'm grateful that I even have that. So working on, last thing of the day here is some tricep. It's actually some elbow health work. It looks like it's working the triceps, but honestly, you want to move it fast enough to where you're really just getting those tendons and ligaments in your arms worked out, just to get the soft tissues in there from getting tendonitis. Really just it helps to heal things up. It gives a little bit of a burn, and that's all it should, but it should never hurt. So day 2 here, working on, I don't have any type of rear delt setup that's ideal. So I've got some somewhat heavy bands and just doing some rear delt work here. This again is another thing that's kept my rear delts very much in shape over the last few weeks. You'll see on the week 80 recap that flies and rear delts are literally back to normal, if not heavier. So nothing lost. Got some T3 raises here to keep the shoulders healthy. These are my heaviest dumbbells, these 8 pounds. So really not nothing crazy at all here. But the rotators, definitely need to stay healthy. So this is one of those exercises that I do for those, the T3 raises. So then I've got some lighter bench work, and this is to a 3 board with 350 pounds. This is also, I'm able to get some more volume in during the lighter bench workouts, and still not mess with the shoulders too much with this 3 board. Blokz is a company that I support, so if you guys are looking for any type of way to do board presses by yourself or just something that's not so cumbersome, I definitely recommend checking out benchblokz.com. In fact, I'll put them in the description if you guys want to check them out and support them. I don't get any kind of kickback from them or anything like that, just a company that I want to support. And I definitely believe that their product is superior to just about anything out there. I don't think anything honestly even exists that is like this. So this is 405 pounds. I felt like I needed just a little bit more weight on the bar. So a lot of this is done on feel as well. It goes both ways. If I felt like I could go heavier, then I went just a little bit heavier, but playing it smart. If I didn't feel like it was there that day, we definitely shut it down and just didn't go any heavier. There's no point. It's this next 3 or 4 weeks is just to maintain strength and try not to lose too much. We're not trying to build anything. So really a lot of the stuff that we're doing is just keeping the momentum from going backwards, if you will. So I got a little bit of different setup here for these lat pull downs. I'm doing a wide grip and I don't have a lot of accessories to put on this cable, so I have to work with what I have. but these wider grip, I'm able to get just a little bit more range of motion, having to lean back a little bit, so it's hitting the back just slightly different, but it's still hitting the back. Really, that's the whole point of this. I just want to make sure that my back is staying strong, because I think, well, I know my back contributes to a big bench, most definitely. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and just jump right on in. That was the first week that I videoed and didn't show you guys, obviously. So we're gonna go ahead and jump right into the 79 recap. Got me over here confusing myself. All right, day one again. Start off here. Got my my warm-up sets. 315 here. It looks a little different, obviously, because it got the kilo plates and standard plates mixed in. So I feel pretty good. 315, no big deal. Doing my my setup here. I still get tight regardless of what the weight is on the bar. Of course, normally I start at about 225, really getting my shoulder set, because if I have any less than that on the bar, I actually use the bar to kind of set my shoulders. I'll actually push it off the rack, so I got to be careful. But 405 warm up here, that felt really good compared to last week, most definitely. Instead of going 455 as a midway point this week, jumping straight to 495. See how we look here. Not as fast as it's been in the past, obviously, but I'm happy with that. Once again, maintenance mode. Needed a little bit of mental motivation here. Got to hit a skull smash ammonia. If you guys are interested in what that does, just go down in the description. They're one of my sponsors, so if you guys hit them up, you definitely help me out. So working up here, I needed to feel a little bit of heavy weight on this particular day. I just felt that in order to do the back down sets that today called for, I wanted to just kind of hit just a heavy single. This is not like a RPE 10 or anything like that. But I wanted to kind of test the waters at about 90%, 80%-ish, and was not bad at all. I mean, I actually, it looked really smooth. It felt a little harder than what I thought it was going to be. And it's funny though, because that's 100 pounds less than what I was hitting. But top set here is 525 for 4, so we're jumping up about 15 pounds from last week. And actually these moving pretty well. This is actually about 3 weeks after I started kind of getting into the maintenance mode of training. So we're starting to look, things were starting to look a little bit up as far as picking a meet potentially. Still wasn't sure when the meet was going to be. And this drop set here on that was 515. So 5 pounds more than last week. And then my volume sets, and actually just opted to not do the bench block today. Really just wanted to feel a little bit different stimulus today. Kind of opens the shoulders up a little bit. The bench blocks is great for when your shoulders are definitely bugging you, if they're messing with you and you don't want to get into those shoulders too much and get into the chest. It's more, the Spoto press is going to keep the tightness there, but the bench blocks allows you to rest it a little bit higher, which keeps it out of the shoulders. So that's how a lot of people ask what the difference is between a Spoto press and like a board press. Spoto press, you're literally having to stay tight the whole time. The bench blocks or the board press, you're able to kind of loosen up just a hair. I don't want to say loosen up, but you don't have to stay super tight the whole rep. You can kind of pause it for real. Got some isometrics here. I did move it down from the last week. This is about 2 or 3 inches lower, working this mid sticking point. Definitely don't want to see a sticking point arise when we start getting heavy. Now, the gym started opening up, so this is good news here. So I went ahead and hit my heavy day at the home gym, and then I went in for some accessory work so I could get some really good range of motion on these lat pull downs, as you can see here. This is about 3 weeks post the quarantine and not being able to really utilize any super good heavy accessories. And so as you can see, haven't lost a lot of strength at all. So was able to maintain, showing you a different angle here, just going with 260 here. This is basically the full stack and really feel good. Definitely feel like momentum is starting to build up. I did, between this particular workout and the next one, I talked to my coach. We were able to open up the meet date and actually pick one. for July 25th because the Houston area is open for now. So that's good news. We're actually able to train for something. Working in some football bar seal rows, some chest supported rows. Got a few sets of 5 here. That was 365. And then I was going to go with 5 on this 405 and actually just called it at 3. It was a little bit weird. I don't know if it was just the setup that I had here or just that I hadn't done a seal rows super heavy in a while. And so I just kind of felt a little bit off. But as you can see, I'm not getting a good squeeze at the top. So I shut it down at 3 and no harm, no foul. All right, so I've got some flies here. Really nice to have my flies back here working on. This is 60 pounds. Nothing crazy, but you can tell that this is definitely a different change of pace than using those 25-pound plates. Obviously more weight, but the momentum picking up, the mental outlook on training is definitely picking up because I have something to train for. And I've really, you know, I've always known that about myself and my training. I have to have a reason to get up in the morning. I have to have motivation and really have something to do and not just kind of float through life. I really am driven towards a goal. And so having a goal, once again, really puts me in a good spot. Got the full stack here, working some tricep push downs and really holding that extension. If you guys train under me, you know that I really stress working the hold on the bottom of these tricep extensions. Really keeps the time under tension on those triceps and really just builds that horseshoe. That is huge for bench. As you can see, I'm okay. I just burned that set out really good. Was cramping up a little bit there. So day 2 here, back at the house, warming up 405. Let's see how this compares to the 405 warm up earlier in the week. Just lightning fast. I'm really happy with that. Basically, we got 405 for 10 here. This is just volume set. And now notice, I want you guys to know that when I start getting into the 600s, the lighter bench day goes back quite a bit or even disappears because I'm not fully recovered from a Monday to a Thursday workout. So that's why you see me benching twice during these weeks and not during my super heavy weeks. So I am having a little bit of fun here on my volume day. We're gonna do 225 pounds for 10 reps. And the goal is as fast as possible. And so these are actually under 7 seconds. And really the problem is just keeping my body down on the bench because 225 is wanting to fly up. Second set here, and actually wanted to break the record that I've set for myself. And this was pretty blazing fast. I'm happy with that. That's the fastest I've ever done it. And really just working on fast twitch muscle, and that's the whole point. As you can see here, I haven't quite yet gotten to the point to where I've gotten to the gym to do my rear delts, but you'll see those on the next video. But so this is back at the home gym with the bands for the rear delts. Really trying to slowly get back into the gyms just because I'm trying to be cautious with the number of people that are there and of course all the virus stuff going on. So here's T3 raises with, I had to go up to 25 pounds because those 8 pounds just weren't doing the job. And so I really wanted to get my shoulders to feel a little bit more stimulus this week. And this did it for sure. Definitely feel the rotators being worked, but in a good way. Not trying to stress them out or anything like that. But I could definitely say that overall, I feel like things are just coming back together. Got some of these band push downs here to keep those elbows healthy. Keeps the tendonitis away. I've actually got all 3 of my bands there to keep things going. But that is going to wrap it up for week 79. And we'll just roll right on in and jump into week 80. This has got to be the best week I've had in a while. I'm actually over at Species Gym, fully functional now for members only. So it's definitely you know, safe to the public, things like that. You know, things have calmed back down a little bit. I mean, just that's as fast as I've gone 405, I think, ever. So gonna do 495 warm up here. Got Shane here on the spot. I really appreciate that. And basically working the same concept as last week. Instead of 555 for the warm up and then back and back down for the sets, We're going to go 585. I want to see how this feels. Definitely haven't gone this heavy in a while. So let's see if we can get a nice solid pause. A little bit of a sticking point, but it was mostly amplified by the fact that I hit the rack on the right side and my back locked up when I couldn't seem to get it moving again. But other than that, I'm really happy with how that moved. So this is actually supposed to be for a set of 5, and I hit the pin again, so I'm definitely used to being a self liftoff. And I think I didn't communicate with my liftoff guy that I was doing more than 1 rep, so when he grabbed it, it was already back into the rack before I could come back down for another rep. So reset, and we're going to go. The plan was for a 5-3-1 kind of day. So basically, this was the set of 3. Really, really good. Feel like I got a good pause there, a good pop. Still working on and hit the pin there. So lost my momentum. Basically did a dead press. And a couple things here. You know, I've basically haven't been under that kind of weight, so it's not uncommon for me to lose the edge a little bit. And also just the fact that I'm used to a self lift off, which can really throw me off as far as where I set up on the bench and how I re-rack things. But we'll work all that out. That just now was the 405, 2 sets of 6. And that's just some volume that I worked in there. And this is the full stack plus 2 10-pound dumbbells. Give me 280. And I'm using a different grip here just to get a little bit more stimulus on that wider and kind of a neutral grip. And got a close grip here with the same weight, 280. Really feel like I'm getting that back worked in. This is obviously a big change from the home gym with the kind of sketchy cable system. Even though it's brand new cables, I just don't trust it enough. So we're moving up to 70s on this first set here of flies. And I definitely warm up before these, and actually I warm up just about before every set, so I don't ever want you guys to think that I go straight in from the last exercise to this exercise with straight up 70s. I worked the 35s, 40s, 50s, I think I even hit the 60s for a couple reps before I brought the 70s over, just because I don't want those pecs to be cold at all. Even though I did bench, this is a different movement. And so I just want to make sure that I'm doing it right and warming up properly. So those felt good. I felt like I had a little more in the tank, so we went ahead and jumped up to 80s for this. Sets of 10. Felt the same to me. Just definitely warmed up with those 70s. And while I'm doing these 80s, I actually got a little fired up because I'm thinking, you know, I don't think I've ever actually done an 80-pound fly before in each hand. So I was getting really excited knowing that this actually felt really good. And flies for a long time have been kind of a weak spot of mine. And as you guys saw with the last training cycle, we were doing chain flies with some really super heavy weight on each side. And so I think that really helped build those pecs up a little bit, which is definitely going to transfer over to a really fast bottom end of the bench press. So needless to say, well, they got 90s. Let's go for the 90s. Now, trust me, I wanted to go hundreds, but let's play smart. So I knew this was a jump. This was a 10-pound PR per hand, and I'm still, you know, looking at the video. Good range of motion here. I'm pausing just before the elbows hit the ground, really just keeping tension on the pecs, and I'm squeezing at the top, but I don't want to get too close and get out of control and rest the dumbbells on each other, but really just staying in the groove here. And felt like, you know, the pecs are definitely keeping up with what they need to be. You know, I'm not going to be looking to go PRs on all the accessories, but it is nice to have a PR outside your main lift because you're basically progressing with those, and those lifts are going to, those accessories are going to complement your main lift. So I've got my tricep push downs here to end it out here on day 1. This is basically 140 pounds, just really concentrating on getting a good squeeze at the bottom. Triceps being one of my staples of my bench, especially close grip. But definitely need to have the pop off the chest. That's why I work so much back and pecs. So day 2 here, back at Species, and got some board press here to save the shoulders because the shoulders are kind of achy a little bit. And the set called for sets of 10, so we went ahead and did 365. Now you'll notice that bar is a little bit longer than my normal Texas Power bar. I didn't bring my bar today, and the gym had all the Texas Power bars used up, so I just used a squat bar. So that's actually 375. And so we slid on a couple of 45s here to make this 465 for the last set of 10. And I felt really good with this. I definitely think I could have done 500 plus on this, but it wouldn't have been advantageous because I was really kind of gassed from 3 days prior benching. We're starting to move the weight up a little bit, so I definitely want to be careful. Rear delts here, full stack on this machine is 225. I could definitely do well in excess of 300, almost 400 on rear delts. But once again, we are easing into rear delts. We're going to work on these and get these back up to par. On my secondary day here, not so heavy on the lat pull downs, really just working on getting a good squeeze. This is not near the weight that I'm capable of doing. But once again, I'm not going balls to the wall every single workout. You know, you got to pick and choose your battles to win the war. And so sometimes, you know, you go a little bit more on one day versus another day, or one accessory versus the next. It really just goes on feel. So here we go with the T3 raises. Definitely using the same weight as last week, but it feels a lot better because I'm able to grip these a little easier with dumbbells, handles versus plates. But definitely nice to have some gym access that I can get into and work some of these accessories. And honestly, just change it up occasionally. You know, just changing the scenery of your training can really help move things along, get you out of a stagnant plateau, or just, you know, change the scenery, just kind of moves your momentum a little bit. Seated rows here. I actually did a few sets before this with 200 and 220 just to kind of warm it up. And then this is 240, really getting a good squeeze there. And last set of these is going to be the full stack, a couple sets of 8. Really feels good. I've been doing seated rows with bands, and those really just kind of keep things moving, but they definitely don't build a lot of strength. I just don't have the heavy bands at the gym to really work these, but really just getting the full range here, getting some stretch out there at front and bringing it back. Just felt really therapeutic, if you will. You know, it's weird, but heavy weight normally is not painful at all for me. It's very therapeutic, so oddly as that sounds. But last thing of the day here is the overhead band push downs. Actually did a few sets of this, just showing one here. I just went ahead and just did 50 reps straight because it felt good, but the set called for 4 sets at 20. And this is really not working a heavy band or anything. It's just more or less working those tendons, keeping those lubricated. Definitely don't want any kind of tendonitis creeping in. Got some soreness typically in the arms all the time, just because that's the nature of benching heavy and just training in general. But definitely, you know, I'm constantly got some sort of dull pain in the shoulders, in the triceps, in the forearms, in the pecs, back, in legs, and you know, that's just kind of normal. Now, if it's ever just burning pain, it's bad. If it's ever sharp pain, it's bad. If I can't sleep at night for some reason, or maybe I roll over on one of my arms and I you know, it goes numb, you know, and it's hurting for the next few days, I take precautions in training because of that. So I'm constantly icing, heating, massaging. And if you guys haven't already checked out my tips on recovery, part 1, it's the video posted right before this. Definitely check that out. I go really deep into recovery and the physical aspects of recovery. But stay tuned. I will be posting a couple of other nutritional side of recovery, supplements, and the psychology side of things, which I think is very important as well. But that is it. I think we're all caught up for the recaps. I really do appreciate you guys staying patient with me. Basically, I told you guys that I was going to take you know, 3 or so weeks of kind of being under the radar. Doesn't mean I wasn't training, obviously. But I definitely, you know, kept everything going as far as videos so that you guys could see what was going on. But definitely just backed it off a little bit. But fast forward, we are about 5 weeks after the last video that we posted for week 77, I believe, 77, 78, 9, 8. Yeah, I think that's right. And basically kind of went through a just a lull in training. You know, it was just weird to not have something to train for. It's been for the last, I would say, 5 years, I've had some sort of meet or some sort of goal to train for, and that kind of being ripped out from underneath me at the last minute was a little bit disconcerting, and it just, you know, threw me off to say the least. And I kind of had to focus my efforts on just knowing that we're going to get through it. We're going to get back to normal training. And I know a lot of you guys still aren't at the point where you're back to normal training. So stay strong. You know, it's going to be over pretty soon. You'll be able to get back to normal or the new normal, whatever they want to call it. The fact of the matter is you want to get back to where you were at before and keep on trucking towards your goal. And I want to support you guys in any way I can. So if you guys need help, motivational messages, whatever, hit me up. And actually, now that I'm on that, if you guys don't already know, I'll put the link down in the description, but I have a CAMEO channel, which is a new kind of social media platform where I can do videos, customized videos for you guys for whatever you need, you know, motivation in the gym, or you got a big bench day coming up. And I'd be more than happy to do that for you. Just click the link below and check out my CAMEO profile. But so I'm very excited. So this week was the last heavy week, if you will, before a deload. We're going to deload next week, which sets us up to be 7 weeks out from the competition, which gives us 7 hard weeks to really ramp things back up. We are right at, I believe we could probably be at 600 for reps within the next couple of weeks, which puts us well within striking distance of 700 plus July 25th. I think it's just a matter of kind of letting my body remember what the heavyweight feels like. That's not a strength issue at all right now. My body weight is holding steady right around 290, so we've jumped up weight a little bit. I did go down into the 280s and I went down into like 279 during the whole quarantine thing, just because I wasn't training heavy. I wasn't needing to eat a lot of food. And honestly, I wasn't able to eat a lot of food because we were stuck at the house all the time. And we eat a lot of restaurant food. And so the calorie foods that I have at the house are very kind of nutritional snacks, if you will, and didn't hold a lot of extra caloric surplus. And so I just lost weight, and that's kind of how things roll. But going to stay on the course, deload next week, and then you can bank on the fact that we're going to be in the 600s the next time you guys see a full recap. Obviously, the deloads are going to kind of be, I don't want to say boring, but just lightweight stuff. I'll actually be right around the weight that I was doing during my I don't want to say off season, but my quarantine training will be what I'm doing for the next week's deload because it's in percentage of proportions of what I was doing this last week. But I'm feeling good. I feel really good mentally and physically. Very fired up. I've got my fire back, which I think for me, that is a huge plus. You know, I can be strong all day long in the gym, but if I don't have that proper mental focus, it totally just tears me down. It's just, you know, it's one of my strengths, if you will, in the gym, the ability to channel a mental focus into my goal smartly. But not having the balance of everything really throws me off. It's kind of like a kryptonite. I mean, it literally can take my training from a really, really high level to a low level comparative to where it was. And that's why sometimes you guys see me, you know, if I'm just not in the right mindset, it can really throw me off. Now I can bounce back very quick because it's not a physical thing. It's just a mental bleeding over into the physical. And so it can really just throw you off. Hence why I use music quite a bit. You know, I wear headphones or I listen to music in my training, really just to motivate me and kind of block out the rest of the world that's going on so I can focus on the task at hand. But once again, you guys, I really do appreciate you guys following along on my journey, for all my journeys. This one just is the road to 700 pounds. Those who followed me from the beginning know that I went through several different journeys. Road to 600 pounds, the road to 2,100 pounds, the road to 2,200 pounds. Next up is probably going to be something like the road to 2,300 pounds. And it's going to be short-lived because it's going to be right after this meet. We're going to be jumping into full meet training, and so that's going to be really, really fun. But once again, guys, thanks for tuning in. If you guys haven't, already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. You'll get weekly recaps from me. If you like this video, definitely hit the thumbs up. Share it with your friends. I'd love to grow the channel. It's been growing. It's kind of crazy because I haven't really been pushing a lot of content out. but you guys are definitely hearing about things from me from somewhere, and I really do appreciate that. If you guys are on Instagram, you can definitely check me out over there at SwimHack. I answer DMs and do lives and post up daily videos and post of what I'm doing, what I'm eating with with the family. So you kind of see a little different look than maybe the standard recap videos. But stay tuned. I do have some more videos that I've been filming for you guys that I will be churning out. I'm editing them right now, but it's like how to set up for bench and things like that. So I'm going to be putting those on the channel as well. Also, shortly after this video, I'm going to post up some new series videos and see if you guys like it. It's going to be my wife and I, and actually the kids on a few of them, reviewing products, things that we like. So like testing out. The first one's going to be like a box of snacks from around the world, and we've kind of signed up with like subscription. So definitely check that video out. You won't see me any more real than how I am with eating with my family and just kind of hanging out and checking out things. But thanks you guys for tuning in. I'm sorry I had to cram all these videos into 1 week, but this will definitely get us caught up. So stay tuned. Road to 700 pounds is well underway. Very, very excited. We're going to be getting heavy here pretty soon. So stay tuned for next week, and I will see you guys then. See ya.